Today we will be rating every single roller coaster in Theme Park Tycoon 2. So I got this tier list in front of me ranking from S all the way down to F. So the best coaster will go in S and the worst coaster will go in F. So let's start with the junior coaster. And of course this coaster also got a lot of skins, but I will just be looking at the base model. So we got this weird wheel and it's a bit weird for a kiddie coaster I would say, but it's not the worst. Everyone uses this coaster just kinda, so I guess I'm just going to place this exactly in the middle. It's not bad, but it's also not good. And I am ignoring the old coaster models since we all know those are way worse. So we'll just do all the new remodeled coasters. For the next one, that will be the Wild Mouse coaster. And personally, I kinda actually like this roller coaster. You can make some good layouts with this. It is not really good, but it's definitely better than, of course, the junior coaster. So I guess I'm just going to place that, well, in B tier. Then next up is the corkscrew coaster. And this is actually an interesting one, since I know a lot of people really like this roller coaster, but also a lot of people actually don't like this coaster. And for me, it really depends. It's quite a rough coaster model, but it does look kind of good. And I think I'm just going to place it also in B tier next to the, well, Wild Mouse coaster. While I'm ranking all of these roller coasters, this is of course my own opinion. This can be completely different than yours. This is just what I think about these roller coasters. Next up is the steeplechase. And this one kind of got a soft place in my heart, but I know it's not really good. It's old, it doesn't look good, but yeah, it's either D or F. I think I'm going to say E tier. There's just not that many uses for this roller coaster. After that we got the inverted roller coaster, the SLC, and I am just very bad at building this roller coaster. In my opinion, it's always extremely rough when you build it, so I think it's not as good as the corkscrew, but I wouldn't say it's down even there. So I think I'm just going to place that in C tier. Then after that we got the multi-lounge coaster, and this is of course a fan favorite from almost everyone. So it would almost be a crime not putting this in S tier. It is just an all-round amazing roller coaster. It's very smooth, the track looks amazing, the trains are very good. So yeah, we'll just place this in S tier. Then we got the spinning coaster, and personally I'm never sure about this one. The trains itself look a bit goofy, but I do really like this. Now, I do definitely like it more than these coasters, but I don't think it's as good as the multi-lounge. So I think this will, yeah, probably fit the best in A tier. After the spinning coaster, let's just have a look at the vertical lounge coaster, since this of course was one of the most used coasters a few years ago. But now with all the new roller coasters that we got, like the multi-lounge or like the extreme lounge, this coaster has fallen behind and definitely dropped a lot on my ranking. And I don't think it's as bad as the steeplechase. At this point in the game has all the way gone back down to D tier. And I remember putting this up a lot higher a few years ago. I think it was maybe even an S or A tier. But yeah, now that we just got all of these new things, it kinda landed in here. Okay, now we got our good boy, the phase turbine. The the metal corroded with airplane fire on the back. I'm not really sure what to think of this, and I think you guys agree with that. And I think I know we're always memeing about this roller coaster. It is a cool concept, but just not being like, if you were able to change the material on this coaster train, this would have been actually like quite high, so that would be amazing. But it just being the metal corroded texture the whole time with all the weird things it actually does. The fire on the back is cool when it launches, but nonetheless I think I still have to put it in F tier. I'm sorry, phase turbine. I think I'm going to include the old flying coaster, and this is more of course the two white one. Of course resembles the one more like Fly. Oh, this is a difficult one since it's old and it doesn't look that great, but it does actually still get used quite often. I don't think it's as good as D tier. So I'm probably just going to place that next to the steeplechase, which I think it's quite a fair place. And then next up we got the mine train, and personally I really like this roller coaster. I kind of hope this one is going to get a remodel in the future, since I definitely think it can be a lot more detailed than what it is right now. But already I really like this coaster, and I think I'm going to place it all the way up in A tier. It's not as good as the multi-lounge, but I do like it a lot more than the Wild Mouse and the corkscrew coaster. So I think that is a very nice place. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with what I'm doing right now. Okay, let's scroll a little bit through the list up here, and I think I'm also going to include the old floorless coaster, since it's just also too wide and not 4 wide. So it is kinda a different floorless coaster, but at the same time I think I think I'm actually going to place this next to D tier. I think it's better than the flying coaster and the steeplechase, but definitely not as good as all the other coasters. So I think this, yeah, I think I can agree with it, placing it right here. All right, on to a next roller coaster, which is the motorcycle roller coaster. And we of course know this has some amazing skins, but we're not rating the skins. We are looking at the motorcycle coaster itself, and this one is like a hit or miss for me. Like, it's a very good model, but there's not that many uses you can do for it, and so I don't really know what to do with it. Like, the track itself was very cool, but you cannot invert with it. The coaster trains are very specific, I would say, like that, and I just don't think I like it as much as the mine train and the spinning coaster, but I definitely do like it more than these coasters here. So I think a B tier for me is the right place. I cannot wait for all the chaos in the comments, people roasting me like, why did you place that there? Okay, now we got the inverted power dark ride coaster, and this is a roller coaster that's not really a roller coaster, it's also a dark ride. Yeah, this one is difficult to rate since it does have just one use, and that's for dark rides. You can't really build a roller coaster with it. So where am I going to place it? I've built or tried one build myself in the past. It is quite difficult, and I don't think I like it as much as these roller coasters. It's definitely not as bad as these. So I think a C tier, I think for what the coaster is and what it can do, is quite fair. Let's continue on the list, and then we got the single wheel coaster. And now of course we got the remodeled version of this, which is actually quite smooth, and I just love the train. This is another favorite of mine. I think I'm going to place an S tier. It's definitely better than the coaster in A tier, and yeah, I think it deserves to be in here. The single wheel coaster, that's I really like this one. After that we got the Beyond vertical coaster, and I think this is probably the coaster that is in need of remodel the most, since imagine having just either like the Infinity coaster from Gaslauer or like the new Voltron, the Max Striker coaster. That would be amazing and used a lot, and I think that would definitely go high in A or S. But this coaster, it's bad. It's bad. It's very rough. The track is very wide. The trains are kind of ugly. I think I'm going to place it all the way down. I don't know. I think I'm going to place it in an E tier. It's not it anymore. You can't use it anymore in this time. With all these new roller coasters, this has become actually one of the worst. But once we go from one of the worst roller coasters in the game, let's go to probably one of the best roller coasters in the game, the Extreme Launched Coaster. Of course, this is the Vekoma coaster, and yeah, I don't think there's much to tell for me. I think you all know where this is going to go. It's going all the way up in S tier, next to the single wheel and the multi-lounge. This coaster is just perfect. It's smooth, it looks amazing. It's just very good. Then we of course got a remodel of this in the last update, which is the Hyper Coaster. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think this really changed it for me. The remodel does look very similar actually to the old one. It just a little bit like smoother shapes and maybe a little bit more detailing, but in terms of the old and new model, not that much has changed. So where am I going to put this? Like, I am not the biggest fan as building this roller coaster in games. It is quite difficult, so I don't think it fits in S or A, but I do think it will fit quite nice in B tier. I'm sorry, Hyper Coaster. Let's scroll. Then we got the suspended swing coaster, and I don't think I ever built this roller coaster in Theme Park Tycoon 2. It's not as bad as the E tier coasters, but I think this would fit decently in D tier. D tier. Yeah, exactly what I said. We got quite a lot of coasters still left, so let's continue with the inverted coaster. And I know this is another fan favorite from a lot of people. People love this coaster in real life. It's a good model. It definitely is. I think this is the first like newer coaster that we got with like the new restraints, but it still has the old wheels on top of it, so it's like a mix of everything. Like, this was the first-ish remodel. So where do I put this? That's difficult. I'm just very bad at making this coaster, and I think I'm going to place this actually also in B tier. I don't like it as much as these two. I just have a soft spot for these two. I don't think I built this one too much. I have to of course build it at my dream park, so I think in B tier that is, I think, a fair place. The floorless coaster. And now I do really like this coaster, and I'm not going to talk too much about it. I think just straight into A tier. It's not as good as the other coasters, but I definitely think it's a worthy A tier roller coaster. Now the next coaster is very similar to it, but it's a stand-up coaster. coaster. And while it's very similar, I'm going to drop this down a lot. One thing is the front with the POV. You see like the front of the train, and I just don't like this. I don't think it's that low, so I think I'm just going to put that in C tier. C tier is like the roller coasters, which I really don't know if they're good or bad, since I never really built them that much. So I think C tier is a respectable place. Then next up is the lounge spinning coaster. And well, this is another banger of a roller coaster. The detail on the train is amazing. You can do so many cool things with this roller coaster. But now is the question, is this going either in A tier or S tier? That's a difficult one. I think it's as good as the multi-lounge single rail and the extreme lounge. So I think it's going in S tier. I think that is deserved to go in there. This is just a very good roller coaster, and it gets used a lot. Let's scroll. Now we got the new flying roller coaster. And the old flying coaster we of course put all the way in E tier. And I think this can go up a little bit, but I don't think this can still go up. I just don't think this model works in Theme Park Tycoon with how you look at the roller coaster. So I think I'm going to have to place this in D tier for me. The water coaster. That's an interesting one. I know this is probably one of the most used roller coasters in Theme Park Tycoon for some reason. Everyone really likes it, and I actually think I can agree with that. But where do I place this? I don't actually know. I don't think I built this too much. So is this... I don't know. And if I don't know, I think I'm just going to go safe and place this in C tier right in the middle of everything, just to be safe. Since I don't think it's as good as these roller coasters, but it's definitely not as bad as those. So I think a C tier is fair. The dive coaster. And this one I actually do enjoy a lot. But now is the question, where do I place this? Since I don't... I think it deserves to be in A tier. I think this is a very nice and good roller coaster that should be in there. And while we're at it, I think the wing coaster just perfectly fits next to that. I don't think it's worse than a dive coaster. I don't think it's better than a dive coaster. I think they just together fit perfectly in there. The wooden roller coaster. And with its new trains, I actually like this a lot, but of course we can't rate that. We have to look at this, which it's a difficult one. Like the supports, of course, are sometimes a pain to do, since of course they just go away whenever you place anything under it, and it is slowly getting more outdated. So I don't know where to place this. I think I'm actually going to place this in C tier. I think it's in line with these roller coasters here. And I know I'm probably going to get some hate for placing the wooden coaster in C tier. It's just not it for me anymore. But then we have the last 3 roller coasters. Let's start with the hydraulic lounge coaster. And I actually do kind of like this, but where do I place that? It's definitely not as good as S or A. I don't think it's as bad as C. So I think B tier is probably very fair placing it in there. I think you guys can agree with that. All right, the last 2 roller coasters, and now the hybrid coaster, which of course is sort of in the same area as the wooden coaster, but I do think the hybrid coaster is better. Definitely not as good as all of these coasters up here. I think B tier is probably... It's still a good coaster. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's as good as all the new remodeled like wing coaster and dive coaster. So I think this is a fair place with how it looks and well how it is. And then we got the last roller coaster in the roller coaster tab, which is the 4D coaster. And I think this is probably one of the least used roller coasters in the game. It is very cool, but it just doesn't get used that much. And for that, I think I am going to place this, I think, in E tier. It's just not it for me, and I think a lot of people will agree with that. I think that is fair. All right, there we go. There we have our roller coaster tier list in Theme Park Tycoon 2, right as of course right now with other coasters we have gotten. Let me know down below if you agree with this list. And yeah, there's probably some changes I would like to make, but I think I can live with what I did right here. I'm still sorry, Face Turbine, for only putting you in the F tier. But yeah, of course the 4 best coasters are the multi-lounge, the single wheel, the Vekoma or the extreme lounge, and the spinning coaster. I think that those are definitely the 4 best coasters in Theme Park Tycoon 2. Well, and how you sort of know what coasters are good and what coasters are bad in the game. So guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe on my channel. And I will say, as always, goodbye.